I need an opportunity, but I had about a month's work about 3 months ago, and sick. I don't say I was sick maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks out of all of it. Now, I'll tell you, all there for a giver. I said, giver, I'm gonna work, I said. That's what I said to the boys all the time. Look out.
To figure out what Dr. Dog album it is that our guest, one of two guests, I should say, Lindsay Barron knows. And we got Lindsay in studio and Kyle
Hello.
King. Woo.
Oh, hey.
Your mics are live, gentlemen, and I am Brad Stevens.
Yes.
Again, you have us here for a Unit Radio on your Wednesday evening dial. Just wants to jump from sound to sound there. And so, of course, thank you folks out there in Radio Land for finding us, and I hope you're willing to stick around for the next couple of hours. We've got some great tunes and great gentlemen. I have no idea what album it is. So if we're going back, we've got, this one was, of course, Fool's Life off of Easy Beat. That's their first record.
Okay, cool.
So I think after that, then they had We All Belong. That's like their first studio record. Then it was Shame, Shame. Then we had... Ooh, there was a couple in between there. There's Psychedelic Swamp. There's a B-Room as well. Maybe B-Room was the one you're talking about?
It does not ring a bell.
Dang.
All the ones you're saying don't seem right. Because, like, my friend, she showed me this band, but she's like, this is the only good album they have.
Cool.
Like, all the other ones suck. I was like, okay, so listen to that one. I loved it. Then you put that song on. The song was great.
Was it Be the Void, maybe?
That doesn't sound right. Do you have Wikipedia up right now?
Yeah, I'm taking a look here. Let me just take a look and see. We've got...
this is fun.
They do have like 8 or 9 records, though,
That's
too.
a lot of records, man.
So, yeah, they're a band that were based out of Philly, of course. So we had early, like, a self-release was Toothbrush.
Cool.
Then there's Easy Beat, We All Belong, Fate.
Fate is the one.
Fate is the one, yeah.
Fate
How did I
is
forget
really
about
good.
Fate? Fantastic record, actually, yeah.
You heard that one?
I used to play From off of, I don't know if you, it's
I
like
love
the
that
piano song.
Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Are you familiar with Dr. Dog, Kyle?
In name only.
Name only, yeah.
That's the stupidest name.
Silliest. And honestly, I think there was some sort of representation initially where they were all like young working professionals and the band was kind of the side thing that they did.
Yeah.
So like they all had nicknames that were all like, I think it was one of them was a doctor, another one is a dentist. What were their old nicknames that they had? Because it's Toby and Scott, I guess, are the two guys who've been the initial songwriters all along. Yeah. And it looks like, I guess, before that they all had these little pseudonyms, I guess. Pseudonyms? Is it pseudonym?
Pseudonym, yeah.
Is it pseudonym?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Do I got it? Did I nail it? But yeah, no, I mean, obviously they're just a tripped out bunch of characters. I don't know. I'm glad you've heard of them. That's kind of amazing.
Oh, man.
It's one of those bands, I guess, that they never really like. There's only one single that maybe hit the top 100, maybe somewhere in there.
Yeah, well, they're called Dr. Dog.
Yeah,
That's a stupid name.
It's a dumb name.
They shouldn't ever be successful because of their name.
No, they actually blew up. One of their girlfriends gave their first record to the lead singer of My Morning Jacket.
Oh,
yeah. It was just kind of one of those like literal. This is how we made it stories.
That's how you started the show last week. Was with a My Morning Jacket song, right?
It was, yeah. Wordless chorus.
Yeah. Don't listen to those guys at all.
No. That's fair. They're. I actually. The weird thing is, I only got into them because of an episode of American Dad.
Sure, you watched American Dad.
Is
it canceled? It's canceled.
It definitely is canceled now, but it wasn't then. It wasn't years ago when that. So this great episode where the lead character, I guess the father, he's trying to chastise the daughter because she's obsessed with this band, and so she sneaks out of the house and goes to a rock concert. So he chases after her, and when he gets there, it's My Morning Jacket, and he has a spiritual experience with My Morning Jacket. So the whole episode is this beautiful. Yeah, so he becomes obsessed with them. He starts following them on tour. It's kind of like a Grateful Dead.
What?
Yeah, it's really good.
And
really,
he's
really
doing
good.
the big chin the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just sort of rocking and grooving, cartoon style, man. But that was a great episode, and that got me into My Morning Jacket. I listened to like their first 2 records at the time. I think it was Z and something else with a bear on the cover.
Sure, yeah.
Great records, though, man. Yeah, good band. That was like the mid 2000s, I guess, when everything was real. There was like you didn't really know where rock and roll was going to go. There was kind of garage rock at the time, but there was also sort of that trip psychedelic rock, and you had sort of like. I don't know where you would call a band like Modest Mouse. Modest Mouse had sort of a huge like surge in 2004 or so where like they weren't really like anything else.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
You don't think that they were just like everything else?
No, but Isaac Brock wasn't like anyone else. No way.
I remember talking to my metalhead cousin when I was like really young, like at that time.
Sure.
When Float On was on the thing.
Absolutely.
And it was like 4 a.m. and like we're just flicking through and that song came on. I was like, is this a good song? He's like, no, not really. I like metal, man. Like,
well, that's fair. And you know what? He's not wrong for saying that. The issue is like, at the time, like, I mean, at that point, we were all only hearing about it. Was that your first time hearing about Modest Mouse?
That was
Float
that song.
On?
Float On was
How about you? Same thing.
Actually, Weird Al's, like, it was in one of the Polka-Rama things.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
What song?
Float On. and we'll all float on. Okay. It was upbeat and just very strange. Yeah.
I completely forgot that he didn't just do like parodies. He actually did full polka'd up.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And White Boy Polka.
Medleys.
Yes.
Awesome. That was awesome.
Man, you're really bringing me back here.
We did Gold Digger. Like.
Really?
Yeah, I was like,
Yes.
There's a word he can't. How's he gonna deal with this? And I ain't messing with broke, and he just loops back, and it killed me.
Good for you. And you know, Weird Al's actually doing a tour right now.
Yes.
I think it's like the Oddities tour. So he's only playing like his uncommon songs.
Oh,
so
beautiful.
So instead of doing a tour full of like Eat It and he's gonna do like
he has so many of those.
The Night Santa Went Crazy, or he's gonna do so it's gonna be that's the tour you want to see.
I was really hoping for like a show anywhere nearby. But
I know. He did come to Halifax, I think, on his last tour.
Not this time.
No, not close enough. No. And I know, it's like, I do really love Weird Al, but it would always have to be a matter if I was already going there. I don't think I could travel to Toronto to see Weird Al.
That's basically where I was going as well.
Yeah, I've had that debate. Would you?
I can't afford to travel.
That's what I mean, right? And if I could, I couldn't do it to see Weird Al anyway. If someone dropped that trip on you and said, you're going to have to take a trip and you can go see, you're going to take a trip and you can go do whatever you want, you go, oh, great, I'm going to go see, is Weird Al the first thing?
Not
I
even
think
close.
that would be probably the most rewarding one. Just thinking about it now,
it'd be hilarious.
Like, I've seen Metallica. Metallica was like my band that I loved and obsessed over.
Very nice.
That's sad but true.
When did you see Metallica?
I saw them in Halifax.
Nice. Was that about 7 years ago or so?
Sure.
Yeah. I had a buddy who flew down to see them, actually.
And that was really cool. It wasn't. I was disappointed. Well, it sucks because like Metallica's amazing, but Halifax sucks. Yeah. So they didn't mosh hard.
Okay.
Because they're not cool. They're from Halifax.
Well, of course. I mean, they're only going to go so hard. It's like when I saw Alexis on Fire here. It was only going to be so cool at the time. Like we were only just getting into like really heavy grunge music here in the local scene.
Did you go to LMFAO when they came here?
I didn't. No, but at the Breezeway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the show.
I was 18, and I wasn't cool enough to know anybody who was 19. That was my social skills first year university.
Yeah. Did you just kind of slip in? Did you look old enough, or
I didn't. I didn't get in.
I
had no poker face.
Okay.
I bought a fake, got taken real quick because I had no poker face at all.
Boo.
And like I look like everybody, but I didn't have the courage to ask anybody, "Hey, can I use your ID?" Please?
That's okay. It almost happened to me. I actually went with someone else's ID when I went to the Hey Rosetta show, and
I was actually just about to tell this story.
Yeah, so I go to Hey Rosetta, and it's same kind of story. Like I wasn't 19, so I started university when I was 17. So I turned 18 my second semester, so it was going to be like my fourth semester at MUN before I finally was old enough.
Wow!
So I'm 18 years old. It's my second year, and Hey Rosetta's the opening concert down at this is terrible. 10 years later, there's like a statute on this. Sorry, Breezeway, but it's your fault. So you guys, so I go there and I had to use someone else's ID, and it's like it's brutal. Like the guy's like 6 foot. I think I still remember his name too. I'm not going to say it.
No, don't say it.
So he's like 6'6", 6'5". He's huge.
You're not naming him by just saying how big he is.
I know. He knows. You know who you are. He's got a mushroom cut. Yeah.
No, wait for it.
And he's cross-eyed, and he also has like brown eyes. So I have blue eyes. So like again, like it's like there's nothing at all. Like I'm looking at this. Like the only thing is literally that we're both men. That's literally it. That is 100%. That is it. And like I'm like, okay, so we're both from Newfoundland. So I give the guy the ID, and obviously he checks it up, and then he asks me right away all the questions. What's the address? And I'm like, oh, there's no way this is going to work. And then finally, that's the first thing right away he calls it. He says, "You don't have brown eyes." And I said, "Actually, I had a surgery. It's a really sensitive subject, and I don't feel like talking about it." And he gave me back my ID, and he said, "I'm really sorry. You can go in."
Oh my god!
And he let me go in.
Wow,
that was it. Yeah,
power of guilt.
One time that worked. One time. So like I don't know. Like I'm not saying that. I'm not going to recommend that. I'm not going to endorse that out there. But I'm going to say. It worked. It's fun as fun.
I have a similar story. You were going to say you had a story to tell?
No, like
that was the same.
That exact story. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
It was hilarious.
Absolutely, I remember that. That was that was our second year university. I think.
Like
oh man,
September. I think.
What a weird time. I can't believe that. That's the only time that I actually legitimately got into a bar underage, and it was.
My cousin did almost the exact same thing as what you're saying here. Except that they actually look very similar. My sister and my cousin, my double cousin, right?
Double cousin.
All the same grandparents.
In relation to like double
on a
dragon?
double cousin?
A double cousin is when your father's brother marries your mother's sister.
Oh, okay.
Right? So all the same grandparents.
But there's no incesty stuff.
Okay.
I guess not. So,
Probably more common than you think.
My sister is the godparent of my cousin. Right?
Okay.
Because there's like a little age gap there.
Okay.
So yeah, she was like, my sister would be like 21. She would be, I think, 14 at the time.
Fair enough.
So she went to visit her in Halifax. That's where she was living at the time, right? So they wanted to take her to the Dome. You know the Dome.
The Dirty Dome, I believe.
The Dirty Dome. Yes. But the thing is that they look very similar, right?
Sure.
Except my sister, she had gained an enormous amount of weight.
Okay.
And then cut all of her hair off. So she had like his hair is short as yours, like short hair, and she ballooned out. And that's when she got her ID picture taken, right?
Okay, ideal time, of course.
And then she kind of she lost some weight and she grew her hair out and she looked half normal now.
Right, sure.
And,
half normal now.
Anyways, my cousin came up to Halifax.
Sure.
And then we'll dress you up. You're only 14.
We're gonna make you at least look enough.
Yeah, we'll put the crazy boots on you. We'll blast some pink into your face, or whatever they do. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, whatever. But put enough makeup on that it looks like you're up for a night out, and you're basically unrecognizable anyway.
Yes, exactly. So she goes up to they go up to the Dome. They're in the lineup, and they get up to the guy, right? And she's like, IDs, please. And my cousin's like, okay, I'll show you the ID. But promise not to laugh.
Sure.
I took this picture when I was, not in a good place. So you just don't hold that over me, right?
So you're gonna preface it. Oh, that's even worse because then before that person even looks, they're already like, oh, I got to be very sensitive.
Yes,
to this.
yes.
Oh wow.
And he saw it, and he just like. Here you go on in.
You look great. Just, my God.
You've earned this one.
Just keep it together. Whatever meds are on now, it's on them. I don't know. That's brutal.
I know a girl who went on like a French immersion exchange into Quebec when she was like 16, I think. And legal drinking age there is 18.
Right, of course.
So she didn't even have a fake ID. She just literally got so drunk this one night that when everybody went out on the town that she passed her Newfoundland ID to the bouncer, and the guy was like, you're not 18. Like, you're very clearly 16.
Obviously, this isn't,
Yeah. And she goes, oh, that's a typo. Don't worry about that. And the guy, burst out laughing, passed it back to her, and he was like, all right, miss, in you go. It's a typo.
This is what I'm saying. You see these situations where it's so obvious. Like if you've been in a store, obviously, when you've seen someone in front of you trying to buy a pack of cigarettes or trying to get beer, and it's just so painful, and everybody in the line is just like, really. No, you're not. And they'll always try to pull I don't have my ID on me. Yep. I left it at home. It's fine. I come here all the time. I had one guy trying to buy smokes. Obviously a kid. It's obviously recess. He has a backpack on. The kid's wearing a backpack, and I'm looking at it going, okay. And this is his excuse. He's going, I buy cigarettes here all the time. She's going, no, I see you here all the time.
Yeah.
During recess and lunch. And he's like, no. Like this, and I'm just thinking, how brazen is this? I would have never tried to pull this off as a kid. I would have thought I would have been reprimanded.
Yeah, man.
I've been thrown in jail or something.
That's an impressive kid.
That's a kid. I don't know what he's going to become. I don't know if.
Boy, he ain't gonna let anyone stop him.
Well, listen, there's nothing between him, man. This is a kid who's getting.
Sets his goal on, man.
Listen,
Can't
man.
stop, won't stop. Black lung, baby.
You really can't hate the attitude. It's just the application is a little. It's not the most ideal.
Sometimes you need cigarettes.
No, and I mean, good for him. I mean, hey, listen, the kids, and maybe he's going to be the coolest kid.
He's probably going to be selling them, making some money. Right?
That's it, man. What a young entrepreneur.
Yeah.
This is it, and this is the same thing I used to see happening at the Bay. There was always the one. I don't know if maybe I thought it was just a generational thing, but I know at my way there was always the one kid who sold cigarettes. He got in trouble. The one at our way got caught. He got caught by the principals.
Dog.
Jeez. Yeah, that's it. No, that's it. When you're flying fast and loose with a few Lucy's, man, you got to be careful.
It kills me. That the term Lucy. The first time I heard it, I was like 25, 26, and I was like, "Why is it?"
Lift the mic up a little bit, then.
Oh,
yeah, it's all right. Just right up there to the nose level.
Oh, she's falling down.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
There she goes.
Deadly.
Yeah, first hearing the term Lucy killed me back in the day because I was like, why did they name it after a woman? Like, didn't get it. And then somebody's like, no, it's a loose cigarette. And I was like, what do you mean a loose like, still with the name association.
This
I was
is
like,
you could get,
I
know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, this is it for me that we always called them spitlickies. Like, I don't know what. Yeah, that was the like. And I know like everywhere's got a different like nomenclature for like what's considered to be like just a single cigarette. But that's what we called them growing up. So like if you rolled,
say it again?
It was called a spit licky. So like a spit like SPIT
yes.
licky. Because you just spit licky it. It was just a little spit licky, you know? It's no problem. It's, that's, and I mean, some people call it, it's like the difference between a dart and a sag, or, you know, I'm gonna, save me a draw, save me a puff, save me a ring, save me an end. Yeah.
Is that like when you're done, don't throw the butt away?
Yeah, so like the ring would be like, save me the very last puff of the cigarette.
Okay.
Why?
So, do you ever like, I remember being a kid, and I never smoked, right? I had asthma like you did, right?
Yeah, I didn't, yeah.
Yeah, but like my friends smoked, right?
Okay.
And they're all skeet. Well, everyone's skeet. We're all middle of nowhere, you know, people, right? I'm from like rural Cape Breton, right? So,
oh, jeez, I didn't
you
realize.
can't use our word.
So anyways, I remember we'd be like walking up there's only one road. You're walking up the one road in town. It's not town. In a dispersed fishing village. Walking up the road and just finding cigarette butts.
Right.
And just smoking them.
Oh, wow.
Just passing the time, finding cigarette butts and smoking them.
But now, when you're living in that rural of an area, like, how likely was it you were going to just find cigarette butts in the middle? Were they just
walks.
Flicked out of the cars?
Or? Yeah, people flicking out of the cars.
Right.
Because it's a very, very popular tourist destination that people drive through. Or I'm on the Cabot Trail.
Okay, and you know what? That's even better, actually, probably. Picking them up off the... not that it's any less, you know, you're still picking up butts. But, like, you're not picking up... This is the difference, because what you're picking up, if you're walking around the street, say you're here in St. John's, and you're, like, here walking through Munn, and you just happen to see, like, it's outside by the library. And people, you shouldn't be smoking by the library. You obviously are, because everybody does on the weird step things. Yeah. So you go and you pick one up, but it's been squashed down to the dirt. You're getting step-ons. And that's the difference, because when you're out on the road like you are and you're getting flicks, the flicks are much better, because someone just was smoking it and it's still intact as a cigarette, and they went, it's gone. And it's out, and nothing happened to it. It just hit the ground, and unless a car ran over it, but that's not happening, because like when the air buoyancy is coming at the cigarette butt, it flies out from underneath, goes out through the back and goes up in the air and just kind of dances in the great circle of life. Yeah. So you're finding intact flickies rather than old step-ons. Yeah. Step-ons are the worst.
Intact flicky.
Yeah, an intact flicky. An intact...
I'm learning so much right now.
You find an intact spit licky, and your day gets hot, man. We're going to take a really, really quick break. We'll be right back, of course. We got Lindsay Barron, of course, here, who's, as we didn't mention, we had the host... He is the host, of course, of Tuesday nights, and that's Bittersweet Comedy down at Bitters Pub here on campus. So make sure everybody checks those out, and that's going to be next Tuesday there, as is on every Tuesday. And then Wednesdays, of course, we've got Low Key Comedy down at Valhalla Tavern. Yes. Also, I guess, is run by this man as well. We'll get into that a little bit after. Okay. And we do have Kyle King, comedian and gentleman extraordinaire, here joining us. I'm Brad Stevens. This is Unit Radio, and we'll be right back. Stick around.
Unit Radio is back.
No, seriously, keep it down, folks. Really, seriously. No, Unit Radio's back, everybody. Thank you. That was Wolfpack with Corey Wong. I don't know much about Wolfpack.
Where are they based out of?
That's a good question. I know they're definitely North American. That's as much as I could tell you.
Not that specific.
No, that is very vague.
What year is it?
Right now, currently, or the year of the video?
Yeah.
Right now, it's 2017. I think that's new.
I saw it like a month or two ago on Facebook.
It's not that old.
As like an ad. So
we should be. We have the technology
to check this out.
Well, I mean, we could be like, yo,
just
check
quick
out,
point of order.
Wolfpack?
I've got several things. Yes, if anyone wants to spell it, that is VULFPECK. Yeah, I know.
Oh, never mind. They don't deserve to be found.
If that was on the
don't.
It's an American funk group founded in 2011. That song actually was a 2014 or 2015 release.
Okay.
They're from Michigan.
Michigan. Thank you. There you go.
Michigan.
I appreciate that.
Did you read that, or did
it said it?
Ann Arbor, to be specific.
Ann Arbor, Michigan.
All right. Yeah. Look at that, Kyle.
Hardy folk.
Way to go, Kyle. Reading the videos.
Yeah.
For those of you who aren't paying, I guess we didn't do the real true introduction. There's Kyle King out there, comedian and gentleman extraordinaire.
Oh, thank you.
Anything else you want to plug about yourself, Kyle? Just other than being awesome.
Well, I'm doing a show in Bay Roberts New Year's Eve.
What?
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. With
Snap. Who are you doing a show there with?
Gary and a few other people.
And where's it going to be in Bay Roberts?
West Side Charlie's.
West Side Charlie's. I did see actually Gary and I think someone else are doing a show, I believe, as well.
Paul Warford.
There you go, Paul Warford. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just saw that. That's another West Side Charlie's gig, I think, somewhere. I don't know if that one's a Bay Roberts gig. I think there might be a gig in here, maybe as well. Good question. So we're going to find out.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on New Year's Eve.
You're in
St.
Bay.
John's.
That is awesome. I can't believe you're going to be in my. That is my hometown.
You're from Bay Roberts?
To break the fourth wall on it there. I'm from Bay Roberts.
Oh, jeez.
I know. God rest my soul.
Yeah, there's a reason. You seemed a little shifty when I met you.
Yeah, it's not something I do advertise, but it is something I get that reaction to all the time.
Yes.
It's a place that I'm from. I don't have a lot of people that I know from there anymore. So when I go to Bay Roberts, I feel like I feel really out of place. I don't know if you feel that way. Maybe now going to Cape Breton, where
they're going to say Bay Roberts.
Well,
yes,
of course. You would definitely feel. I would assume you definitely feel out of place in Bay Roberts. Yeah, I know. But I mean, like, it's a place I grew up. That's where I put it. And it's like friends of mine have always talked about it, and I don't wish I grew up somewhere else. Like, I'm glad I grew up where I did. But when I think about it now, like, there's not a lot that was in Bay Roberts for me. Like, I'm sure maybe you feel that way maybe for Lab City.
Yeah.
Not a lot of opportunity, but make the best of it.
Pardon?
You make the best of it?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I played a lot of video games. I more or less taught myself how to play guitar. There used to be a movie theater that shut down because it needed a ton of renovations.
Like most, rural
theaters. It was probably built in the 60s or the 70s.
Wow.
And,
Yeah.
So
we had one like that in Carbonear, just about a half hour away. Same thing. I think it burnt down 5 years ago. I think like long after I lived there. But
proper way to go.
Yeah, for sure.
So you know Bay Roberts. You know the place.
Oh, like the back of my hand.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you think they're going to respond to Kyle King's comedy?
Honestly, I don't know how they're going to respond to comedy. I think it's going to be great because I think it's something different. Like growing up out there was nothing like this going on. But I feel like anytime something new came through Bay Roberts, it turned heads. Are you ready to turn heads?
I'm ready to try.
Well, you better bring your head turning pants. That's all I can say. Like
turning pants,
or
got my white pants on,
socks, or it's the weirdest thing. You're either going to have them right there with you, or they're going to be thoroughly shocked, but entertained, and they'll watch.
That's
stare politely.
That's literally every room, though. Like.
That's true. Actually,
I've done sets where I'm like, I don't think this next joke's going to go well, and it kills.
Absolutely.
And I've been in rooms where it's like, yeah, these people will get this, and
nothing.
Crickets.
And nothing.
So,
I mean, really, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say because it's not like I know. It's not like I could even predict who would be there again because it's one of those things where if I spent a lot of time in Bay Roberts and I had a lot of experience being there, say in the last 10 years. I could say to you confidently, like, oh, okay, I know what it's like you said it's West Side Charlie's, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, like, I don't know what West Side Charlie's is like on a particular night of the week, or even on, like, a holiday night. So I assume if it's going to be New Year's Eve, if it's like any other date over Christmas when I've been out there, it's always so busy, and there's so many people. So, like, when I've gone there for Tibbs Eve on the 23rd, I think I might have gone there either for a Boxing Day or a Christmas Day night.
Okay.
It's always busy. There's always a ton of young people because it's the time of the year, of course, when everybody's home.
Yep.
But more importantly, it's kind of up in the air who's actually going to go. Like, I don't confidently know anybody out there anymore, so I couldn't say that, oh yeah, I know of this group of people who happen to go to comedy or go to shows or go to music events, or I don't know if there's bands. I assume there's bands that play out there.
Yeah, well, Gary is headlining this show.
Awesome, okay.
And Gary is in a Green Day cover band when he's in town. And they did a show out in Bay Roberts this summer, and it was better attended than the one at, oh God, what's the name of that bar?
At A Bar, we'll say.
Yeah. It's like, I can't remember. Doesn't matter. But at the same time, that was probably the worst night ever to have a show because it was the Floyd Mayweather fight.
Oh, man, seriously?
It was a friend of, I don't know, Colin. I don't know if you know him.
I do know Colin,
709.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was his birthday party, I believe.
So you're talking like this is a night where it's split off regardless, with one major sporting event, like a pay-per-view level sporting event.
Like,
okay.
possibly the sporting event of our lifetimes. You know,
really though, yeah. That was the Mayweather Pacquiao or the Mayweather more recent one. The
sorry, the Mayweather McGregor fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. No, that's still huge. I mean, that's unreal. Either way, two massive cards.
And it was also Frisbee League playoff day. So.
Another huge card as well.
But I mean, like,
the biggest.
These are my people that I could get to come, and everybody's like, I'm at a party, or I'm at a different party, or I'm watching a sports fight.
Sports fight.
That's usually usually what I tell people. I'm watching a sports fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best kind of fight. I mean, a bar fight, not so much. A sports fight, though.
Sports fights are where it's at, man.
Because you can bet on those and not feel that bad. But if it's like Buddy in the blue jacket, I got $5 on he. You know.
No, I think it's gonna be fun, man. Honestly, like I not that I want to put too much confidence in my hometown, because like I said, it's not something that I can in any way speak confidently for, because I have no knowledge of it. It'd be like if you asked me. You said to me tomorrow, like, hey, I'm going to go to Regina. I've got 2 shows booked in Regina on a Tuesday and a Thursday in Regina in March. What's it going to be like? What do you think? I have no idea. I couldn't even... It's going to be cold. It's going to be...
But you don't know Regina like the back of your hand.
Yeah, but I mean, I know the town. Like, I mean, I know it physically, like the physical layout of like where things are. Like, if you need a slice of pizza, I'm your guy. You need to know where to get your nails done. I know of 3 places because I probably like it used to be like probably where I got a slice of pizza, and now it's a some sort of nail salon.
Sure,
and that's cool.
Yeah,
I probably rented movies from there, maybe, or it used to be a Curves or something, maybe. Do you know what I mean? Like
you had Curves.
There's been Curves. Yeah, Curves has been around for a while. It's like a staple.
That's the staple.
People love Curves. They love like these small niche gyms with like niche programs. So like Curves was a big one. There's another one at home as well. I can't remember that people used to use. People like
is it Taibo?
It might have been some sort of Taibo-ish, sort of Tai Chi-ish sort of thing. Something big. Yeah, Tai Chi Bo. There's actually a gym, like a legacy gym that's been open for like 15 or 20 years at home that's closing. So I don't know what the competitor gym is out there now. I don't know if there's like a Globo gym or something that's open and it's shutting down all the average Joes out there. It might be a Good Life. I haven't seen any Good Life signs or bags. Normally,
they're not good.
I hear their contracts are not so great.
Yeah, I got into one of those contracts, and it's not a fun story.
No, I hear nobody seems to be trying to keep them. Everybody really seems to be trying to sell them to me on Facebook, which is fine.
I didn't realize that was an option.
Yeah, I know.
I just wasted a lot of money. At a time when I had none.
I think, from what I've heard though, too, honestly, Lindsay, man, it's not just as easy as being like having someone take it over. Like, there's a whole like paperwork aspect too, where someone has to actually come in and like physically legally sign it over to them. There's like a transfer of ownership that occurs.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. It seems like a real ordeal for a gym membership. Like, I just want to pay you my fee once a month, and then if I skip a month, I'm going to keep coming, and I'm going to assume that you're just going to keep letting me in because you think I paid my fee. Like, I just want to go.
I was going to Max Athletics on New Cove Road, I think it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
And long story short, I ended up leaving. Like they have this policy where if you're going out of town or whatever, you can just put your membership on hiatus.
Okay.
3 times I left town for work for like a month, and they charged me both times because it's like a 2-week thing.
Okay.
And I went back every time, and I was like, you guys still charge me. And they're like, oh, they'll look into that. And finally, I was like, hey, did anyone ever look into this? Oh, yeah, they said there was no refund to be given. Like, the paperwork wasn't done right or something.
Dirty.
Yeah, so the first time I didn't do the paperwork. The next 2 times it was like, I'm taking care of this myself, like every number.
Yeah.
And
still,
there is no doubt in my mind. I took a picture of the last one, and I was like...
And this is why, unfortunately, it's like... This is why people, a lot of times like this, when it comes to something as simple as, like... It should be easy, like a gym membership.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't have this same ordeal or run around or rigmarole when I got to go get a library card. Yeah. Like, there's no, you know what I mean? There's no, like, full song and dance. I'm not signing away my life because I want to get healthy. Like, I just want to go to a gym. I want to give you $40, and I want you to get away from me when I'm at your sweaty weights and leave me alone and make sure there's a spray bottle and some paper towel around.
There needs to be, like, a Kudo version of gym membership.
This is what I'm saying.
Like we're just going to borrow like timeshare wise, like 30% of a squat rack or something like that.
Could we have a little like luchador kind of guy that's also like we can just sort of like maybe you can like he's like your sparring partner in the gym.
Could he be like El Mucho or something like that?
He's your personal trainer for an extra fee. Yeah, for a little bit extra per month, you can actually get him. He does a full like fitness and nutrition assessment with you, or whatever. I thought about getting something like that done actually recently. I figured out that I have some sort of insurance through work that apparently covers a nutritional assessment.
Oh, sweet.
But I don't know what that means. So is someone that tells me what to eat?
I'd say you'd see a dietitian.
Yeah?
Actually, mutual friend of ours, Andrea. Yeah.
Right, is a dietitian.
Yes. So
could I get like referred to her?
Possibly. Literally, I posted something about, my doctor said I'm not supposed to be eating this stuff now.
Okay.
And she was like, that sounds a bit suspicious to me. Like, let's sit down. I did that yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
And, learned so much.
See, that's the thing. It's kind of nice, actually. We're at an age right now where a bunch of friends of ours have actually gone into, I've done nothing. I've spent most of the last 10 years, basically doing nothing. Just, flaking out. I play a few shows here and there. I stay up late. I'm on my laptop. I don't do anything. I've seen a lot of TV shows. Do you know how many times I've watched Trailer Park Boys?
7.
From start to finish? Oh, it's crazy. But what I haven't done is accomplish things like people that I know. We know people that are dietitians. We know people that have gone into various medical practitioners. I know people that are, acting surgeons right now, people doing residencies.
Man.
It's nuts. And to be able to actually post something like that on Facebook and be able to be like, hey, I'm not eating so well, or a doctor told me maybe I should stay away from.
Well, it wasn't so much
XYZ.
I'm not eating so well. I can't remember exactly how it was, but somebody. Oh, I know what it was. When I was up in Goose Bay, I was complaining about there was no good food selection and food was very expensive. So I was like, I'm genuinely not sure what I'm going to eat for the next month. And somebody was like, just make a ton of sandwiches. And I was like, doctor said stay away from bread, within reason sort of thing. I
mean, they try to say, you probably should just live off of anything, really.
Living off of things is very important.
No,
What have you guys been talking about? This just sounds like a bunch of nonsense.
We did double a little bit off there. No, I mean, I don't think necessarily not eating things. I think you shouldn't just eat the same of everything all day, every day. I mean, that can't be good. I mean, everything in moderation. We had a friend that lived with us years and years and years and years ago who got scurvy because he only ate oatmeal.
That's a really odd one to only eat.
That's what I thought. I mean, I think at some point it occurred to him that might have been a strange thing to only eat too, but...
I was going to say, we probably shouldn't name drop him, but it occurred to me, one of his stories recently, he actually mentioned I got scurvy while I was living in Res from eating oatmeal and jelly beans.
I'm actually going to specifically not name him, but I bet if you're anyone out there who is familiar with, if you know who we're talking about, you know who we're talking about. That's what I'm going to say. Because, I noticed that too recently, because I've always been whenever I tell that story, I always tell I know a guy who, but I've never actually really said who. But he was... he got scurvy from eating only oatmeal
and jelly beans. Because he had acid reflux, and he thought that jelly beans would help control the symptoms.
Somehow, it was the. I just kept his. I think his blood sugar.
Yeah.
I think it made his blood. I don't know, thicker or thinner.
It would definitely make it thicker.
Or he
jelly beans.
Yeah. Anyway, and that's what helped keep his acid down. Acid reflux.
Did that actually work? Because I remember hearing it from, I think it was Dean, was like, he ate jelly beans to fix his acid reflux.
I feel like that's a thing you would, I feel like you'd just be like, I really like eating Big Macs. You'd be like, boy, I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling sad on the inside. I'm going to eat a Big Mac. And it makes you feel better. Do you know how people have comfort foods? I think that's kind of in that same vein where I have acid reflux. I'm going to eat a handful of jelly beans. Oh boy, I feel better. I feel better, I think. Is it acid reflux? I don't know, but I do feel better. But that's hey, geez, I'm sad. I got a bad mark on a test. Let me shotgun a pizza right now. Boy, I feel better. Not really. I feel dead on the inside.
Yeah, then that's much worse.
But it's so much worse. So much worse. And then for days after, it's so much worse.
Yes.
It's awful. It's terrible passing, an entire pizza, but that's a thing that you may have to do if you happen to,
No, you never have to do that.
You shouldn't have to.
You never have to do that, and you shouldn't ever do that.
I don't encourage it.
Don't use food to make yourself feel better, guys.
No, that's not something we want to endorse. What we want to endorse...
If you need to feel better...
Go to
alcohol,
the
gym. Be safe at home, kids. Don't be messing with full pizzas.
Yeah, don't be eating too much. You gotta watch your cholesterol, kids. You really do gotta.
No, you don't.
No,
you didn't learn that.
LDLs.
All of it's good, man. All of it's good now.
Even the low density stuff.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. It's like with eggs, where they say it's eat eggs, and then it's don't eat eggs, and then it's only then it's only whites, and then it's no yolks are the way to go, and then it's just mix them up, get a slushy, and just mix them all up, and then it's like don't touch them, don't even look at them.
Rocks.
I eat as many eggs as I can. I'm sure you guys can attest to this.
You do.
That was really upsetting.
we were actually before we got in the studio here, we were just coming in, and Kyle actually reached into his pocket, and Kyle had, for some reason in his pocket, you had a boiled egg,
a hard boiled egg.
Yeah,
yes.
you just had it, and it was sitting there in the shell, and you just started picking the shell off.
So literally,
just throwing it on the ground.
It's compostable.
It is. I know, but I don't care if it's biodegradable.
That's not it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
don't put
biodegradable
banana
is
peels
better.
there. Don't put diapers there, man.
Those are very different things. Come on.
I know, but it's not like it's like the same thing with me and banana peels. Like I know it's biodegradable, but I can't be flinging around banana peels. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just reckless behavior. Like,
parrot, man.
It's not a good precedent to set for people. Like, I don't want kids to
exactly.
see me throwing banana peels around everywhere.
Act in such a way that if everyone acted that way, the world would be a better place.
Yeah, because then your kids are going to see you with boiled eggs in your pocket and be like,
okay, in
Mom,
my defense,
I'm going somewhere. Give me my boiled egg.
Yeah.
In my defense, I went out for brunch today. And
stole an egg?
No, we had to leave a little bit earlier, like before I finished the meal. So I had one hard-boiled egg left, and I literally looked at my girlfriend and I was like, I think I'm just going to throw this in my pocket. And she was like, you're not. And just as that happened, wait, it gets better. The server comes back. She had previously taken my plate away and left me with just the egg, and sort of looked at me a little bit funny, looked at my girlfriend a little bit funny, and then was like, nope, just
that's okay.
Going away, not my, yep.
I don't need to know.
So I guess she was expecting to come back and see, like, the eggshell on the table or something. Instead, I've got it in the palm of my hand.
Yes.
And she was like, are y'all good with that, sir? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
she's like, do you want like some napkins or something? I was like, no, I got pockets. And she visibly stifled a laugh. Like, she leaned forward a little bit, and
I feel like I can see her physically recoursing at the thought of, like, do you need something to carry this in? No, I'm good.
Please, just lie to me and take the
hurts, dude.
So,
but good for you. I mean, you found a really delicate, intricate transportation system for boiled eggs.
Yeah, it's great. It's
just in your pocket.
It's nature's pocket, the shell, So I put the pocket in a pocket.
This is burning me. Dude, I've seen a lot of weird things, man. I've never seen anybody just take a boiled egg out of their pocket, man. Like, it would have been less weird if you had just been like, if you just had like a bag of cottage cheese somewhere.
Oh,
like,
I know a guy who there was like all you can eat hors d'oeuvres at a party, and actually two guys. One guy took like serviettes and filled it with like shrimp.
Good.
And just like crammed them into his pockets.
Sure, as many as you possibly can.
The other guy, this was at a New Year's Eve party a couple of years ago, there was like a pulled pork slow cooker filled with it. And the end of the night was rolling around, and he's looking at it, and like he's wasted. I'll like giving him the benefit of he's not making good decisions right now.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
He's got a nice jacket on, and he's like, I think I'm just going to, like, take some of that pulled pork home. And I was like, do you want, like, one of these styrofoam bowls? And he was like, no, there's napkins right there. So he takes, like, at least half a pound of pulled pork and puts it on, like one napkin and puts another one on top.
And I mean, for reference,
stuffed it in his coat pocket.
Like, any amount of napkins is the wrong amount of napkins to be carrying pulled pork.
Like, you want to carry that in your hands.
I carried whatever. I'd put it in my hat before I'd put it in a bunch of napkins. That sounds Can you imagine trying to pick pieces of napkin out of your pulled pork?
I think you just sacrifice the surface meat.
No, you eat the whole thing.
Yeah?
Just
napkin and all?
It's paper. You have never eaten chewed on paper.
Yeah, but I don't want to mix it in. Like, at that point, you're like, why would you make... what's the point of even taking, like, pulled pork if it's, like, covered in napkin, I guess? Like, then what was it all about, man?
Alive.
This is existential radio.
I see. You're the right one. Like I'm the one I'm building up walls.
Yes.
I'm building up a wall between me and enjoying this pulled pork.
Wall.
A paper.
Yeah.
I can eat my way through.
Yes, man.
And you're looking at it saying just sacrifice the surface.
It's
I could do
fiber.
that. It's like a little rind. You just peel that off first.
Waste.
That's waste. That's
man.
true. I know, right? You can
Rind.
make a good
I
stock
like to
out of
chew
that.
on the rind, man. I eat the rind.
All right, I'll save you my paper towel off my next pulled pork I make off with.
When I make pulled pork, right, I take the fat off it, right, and then I'll fry that up and eat it.
Of course, man. The rind is amazing when you fry it up.
Waste not, want not.
Last time I did a ham, actually, as soon as I finished taking the rind off, and I was doing scoring it on the outside before I covered it, I just gave all the rind to my roommate, and he came right in with a cast iron pan, and that is amazing.
It's really good, man.
So tasty.
I hope to never have to cook a ham.
Why?
It's not that bad.
Ham is the worst meat.
Not when it's cooked right.
Get out of town.
No, I've had like my mom is a very good cook.
Yeah.
And like her ham is okay. She makes a glaze, a whole shebang.
The whole shebang?
Don't care for it. I was given. I was in the hospital when I was young, and they gave me ham for like supper one time, and it tasted just like my mom's ham, like hospital ham. Just like
awful.
mom's ham.
No.
That means that your mom's ham sucks. That's
Yeah,
what that
I'm
means.
sorry.
I don't know.
I think break it to you. Yes, that's what that
I
means.
think that
sorry.
ham is just
1 +
terrible.
1 = 2.
You know what?
No,
But that's got to be why. Because if it's as good as hospital ham, I'm telling you, man, most hospital ham is like a processed.
No,
it's
it wasn't like the.
It's a canned
What was
ham
that about?
at best. That's like a grade D ham.
No,
That
it
was
was
really-
it was
yeah,
like an
it was
actual
crazy
ham
ham.
slice. It wasn't
on,
like
right?
the canned ham or like the block, ham cube thing.
Dog,
I get it.
there's no way. If your mother puts as much love and affection into her food as the hospital staff, that's a cold mother you have.
Maybe it's just hams in Lab City. I don't know.
You just got to find a different glaze, buddy.
Dude.
Let me tell you.
No, the glaze was the best part.
Well,
man, the glaze with the mustard and the brown sugar. Is that how your mother makes it?
I believe
brown
so.
sugar is the best way to go. Yeah, I've done it with mustard before, like Dijon mustards and stuff.
Yeah, definitely brown sugar.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
what else, but
When I do it, it's just brown sugar and
No, without a doubt.
and vinegar.
That's a great one too. It always cuts down on the fat too. Anything nice and acidic. I've heard some people boil them in like Pepsi and stuff too. Apparently, that's really good for cutting down fat on ribs and ham and stuff like that.
I mean, it should
What?
dissolve some stuff.
Yeah,
What?
boil down Pepsi.
Boiled Pepsi ham.
You tell me, buddy. I don't know.
Would that ruin the pot?
No.
Is that bad for your lungs? Breathing in that Pepsi?
I can't. I don't know. Apparently, it's fine. Like apparently, it just boils off. I know it feels like it would like. The sugar would like...
Yeah.
But I think it's got something to do with like it actually cuts in. I guess it's acidic enough that it cuts in at most of the fat. So when you do it with ribs, and a lot of times ribs, if they have like a real fatty on like a side rib, sometimes it can be real. It can really cut in and dig in deep there.
Man,
I love a good side rib.
Love ribs, man.
I want to do ribs.
They're so expensive.
It's not smoker
They're so
season.
expensive
I'm hungry
all
now,
the time.
I know, kind of am too. We're at the point where I got to take a quick break. This is PSA time, public service announcement o'clock.
What are we doing?
I got to do a quick public service announcement, so I got to take a quick break. So we will be right back. We've got Lindsey Barron here.
Yeah.
And we got Kyle King here. My name is Brad Stevens. You've been listening to Unit Radio. Stick around. We got plenty more coming. Stick around. This is always here on your Thursday night dial. It is Unit Radio. We're here until 10 p.m. this evening. I, of course, am Brad Stevens, your host. And we're still here, of course, joined with Lindsey Barron here.
Hello.
Of course. One comedian extraordinaire, followed by another comedian extraordinaire.
Oh yay!
You know, not to be numbering you guys there or anything. It's just
You
two
should
comedians extraordinaire.
Yes.
I can't rank you guys. You're both my favorites. How about that? And it's Mr. Kyle King. So thank you both for sticking around here this evening. This has been lovely.
I have a question for you.
Go
What
for
is
it.
what
Throw
is
it at
what
me.
is what is this unit radio?
So Unit Radio was a moniker that I came up with. Basically, initially I was going to call this whole idea of a show, it was going to be a yarn with. And I wanted to call it a yarn with, so I'd get different people to come in and have a yarn with me.
Yes.
And that was the branding and that
And
I
you'd
was
spell
like
with a
sticking
D,
with.
right?
Pardon?
You'd spell it with a D.
Width?
With
You mean?
with?
Yes. Yes.
No, I didn't. Oh,
Dog.
that's so much better. Oh, yarn. Oh, anyway. So what I wanted to do was I kind of thought like. I just felt like that was like something that sort of represented like, okay, people are going to come in and it's like a very casual sit down and there's no pressure and we're just going to talk and it'll be cool and casual. And then I watched.
Creep me out.
Well, this is what happened. This is what happened. So then I sat down and I watched Office Space, which I love, like one of my favorite movies of all time.
baby.
Love it, so good. And I get to the jump to conclusions Matt part. It's just a Matt that you would lay on the ground that would have different conclusions on it that you could jump to. And the more that I thought about that, I was like, a yarn with. It's a place where you have a yarn with me. And then I hated myself. Yes. And I took that whole idea and I just threw it out and it was gone.
Good.
And then the first thing that came to mind after that was I thought, what a unit I am, that I thought that was the good idea. I had a logo done. I made an Instagram. I made a Twitter. I had it all done. I had an email address ready to go. It was a yarn with, I'm pretty sure, at everything, that blah, blah, blah. So, like, whatever. That was going to be the whole thing. And then so I just went, I'm a unit. I can't believe I thought it is. And I said, unit radio. And that's how it all came together. It was literally a matter of, I came in here on a Wednesday. They asked me to do a test hour, and I just came in here in the production and just did like a pre-record and showed them what I could do. And then he said, do you want to come back next week and do it right away? Yeah. I thought I was doing an hour, and I came in that night and I was doing 2 hours. And I had no idea what I was doing. I had nothing prepared, nothing ready to go.
Nice.
That first show is on YouTube too. I went back and listened to it recently, and it's so... I didn't even know what I was doing. 5 times during the show, the song stops in the middle of the song, and I had to come in and like unmute it. It's basically just like... and I'm sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, we're just here for our unit radio. So, like, it's unbelievable, and I don't know. It came back around in a nice way because I was glad I made all the dumb mistakes that you can make early.
I don't understand why a unit, though.
I don't know.
You are a unit. Is that what you say to yourself? You're like, I'm such a unit.
Unit is like
Who says that?
Maybe unit is a Newfoundland.
You're a centimeter. What
I actually think it's a Newfoundland colloquialism. So it's like saying you are a moron, or someone is like a.
Are you sure it isn't eunuch?
I do not have eunuch radio. I don't have that Instagram. I don't have that Twitter.
Not yet, but there's probably an opening, man.
Well, I gotta branch off somewhere. This is how it starts.
Niche, man.
Branch off. Sorry.
I think you're right.
Branch off.
I think you're right. And actually, to be honest with you, unit is something that if I said like unit slang here, and I just took a look. Like, we use unit if you're describing someone as someone who is being a moron, who's so moronic that they don't even recognize how moronic they're being. So when you look at someone and say, look at that person being the way that they're being, they're such an idiot, they don't even know it. And that would be like you'd say, the easy, really fast way to say that is, what a unit. And the description of it here actually is an absolute machine of a person. So if you said someone who said, what a machine. Look, what a unit. Yeah, so someone is like a unit.
Oh.
And
wait, well, what's another?
Someone who is indescribable.
Okay.
So like I look at something you're doing and say that person is...
Come up yet.
What?
Said...
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Well, I was going to go with... So let's just say, for example, you happen to be outside and there was a guy that you're with and he took a boiled egg out of his pocket. And someone from afar might look at that guy and say, that guy just took an egg out of his pocket. What a unit. Maybe. I don't know, hypothetically.
And they'd be wrong.
They would be wrong, of course.
He is a machine. You have that metal pump in your side?
I am a cyborg. I am not a machine.
So I think it's just a Newfoundlandism. I don't think it means anything other than what I am making it mean by saying it out loud right now on the radio. I might be coining it now, maybe.
I hope. Because it didn't make any sense. I was trying to
what is unit?
And I'm like, what does this mean? Is he ever going to address what unit
Do you know in 12 weeks you're actually the only person who's asked me that? Yeah. This is the only time that's ever come up.
I've wondered about it, but I haven't actually, maybe it's been cared enough, I guess.
The hot question on everybody's mind is, what is unit radio, really? Yeah. What is the unit part?
I speak for the people.
I am the original unit, is what I can say. I come in here week after week, and I'm just a dingus who comes in and likes to sort of try to pretend like he knows radio, even if he really doesn't. So I was glad to have you guys come in because you could at least help me just sort of guide the show.
I have a follow-up question then.
To your next point, sir.
So, do you knit?
Do I knit? I do knit, actually. I was a crocheter initially. Yeah. I tried that out. I actually was talking a little bit about that last week. I made like a small...
little swastika, right?
Thing. It's very small. No, I don't. It's actually, there's way too many. That's too intricate, honestly. That would have involved too much skill for me to have all the different.
You just make 4 L's.
No, there were too many right degree turns. I couldn't even do the 90-degree angle. That's too much. So what I ended
2 245s real quick.
Why I ended up with the diamond shape. So I had like that sort of small. I can do a miniature face cloth if that's your thing.
Ooh,
but what I've been trying
to do.
Thing. Yeah, well there you go. Great.
I have have a collection of miniature face cloths.
Let me drop it in your box for if you're going to get something to show off.
Say to people, let me drop it in your box.
I'm going to say basically, this is going to be your Christmas gift, Lindsay.
Yeah,
I was going to come over and deliver it like Santa and show up and just,
Oh,
I was going to come on over and bring it with the mailman and just.
I was hoping to swing by and drop it in your box real quick.
I have these gifts for you.
You're the guys who want to ruin Christmas here. I mean, you guys are the ones who want to make this a horrific thing. I mean. So, I mean, if you're... All right, so listen, if we got to move on to at least the topic that I came back here before I go into our local segment here, I wanted to at least ask you guys something. As to comedian extraordinaires, what would be the moment, either your own moment, or a moment you've been a part of and you've observed as an audience member, that you probably might call maybe your favorite or your worst bomb that you've ever seen?
I've got a worst as an audience member.
Personal worst?
No, I was watching somebody else,
Okay.
and I'm not going to go into too many details.
That's fair. Yeah, we'll leave names.
Details.
Yeah.
No. But the person, I believe, said that originally it was understood that it was their first time doing comedy, so, kind of low expectations.
Of course.
And it turned out that it was just their first time doing comedy in St. John's. They have done comedy many times before.
Okay.
And it was just... There were no redeeming qualities to that set. It was awkward. It was tense. At one point, the person said, like, hey, give it up for, a person, like making fun of the host sort of thing. And the room was mostly comedians. And usually when somebody with a mic says, hey, give it up for so-and-so, you just give them a round of applause, right? Nobody clapped. 0 people applauded. They asked again, and still 0 people.
That's so awkward.
That was in Ontario, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's uncomfortable, man.
You didn't have any jokes.
I love,
Zero, yeah.
I do love, an awkward moment. I do, there's something, sometimes...
I can't.
Yeah, sometimes there's two.
Physical pain.
Yeah, that's, that to me, when it gets beyond the point where it's, controlled awkwardness, because there can be, an awkwardness where a moment goes awkward, and you, I've seen both of you guys do sets where you guys have said a joke, and it didn't quite get the reaction you hoped for, and the first thing you guys do is you own the moment by reacting to the reaction or the lack of reaction, and that's what makes it. I've seen you do a joke where you've immediately laughed, and that's gotten the bigger laugh than the joke itself, which is awesome, because it's you're so self-entertained by that joke that it's this doesn't even matter. This isn't about you guys anymore.
No,
this is about me. This is never about you. So I love that, and I've seen you do the same thing where you've just all you've had to do is something as simple as acknowledge it. Yeah. Acknowledge the existence of the silence.
My favorite way to deal with that is basically go, screw you guys, that joke's hilarious.
Exactly.
And that has never failed me.
Exactly. And that's a perfect way to do it. I've seen comedians do it. I mean, the rule of thumb that I've heard apparently is you only get away with, and actually I've seen it happen too, you only get away with acknowledging the silence once. So you only get one chance to really dig in about how bad it is. Unless your set is just brutal, in which case, it may be unsalvageable. You can, you really do only get one decent dig, and that one decent dig is meant to bring it back.
Yep.
And I think, I've seen professional comedians do it, and they really you don't take multiple digs at yourself. If the joke it keeps bombing, and if you keep bombing, after you've acknowledged it once, or maybe twice, you just kind of power through the rest of the set. At that point, you're okay,
no, I disagree.
okay.
Totally disagree.
See, and you would take the alternative, where I've seen you take it where you're just you know what, no, I'm going to own it, and that turns it around.
And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you do the whole time, and it never turns around.
Yeah. That happens, though.
But yeah, no, I watched Matt Wright try out a bunch of jokes.
Yeah.
And, didn't work.
Just that's it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got to keep doing them.
It boggled my mind, when I started comedy. My second set wasn't great. Neither was my first, obviously. It took me probably 3 or 4 times at basically just the same set I had.
Yeah. Just
to actually, to get it okay. And you can't really practice comedy. You can go over the set, but under the lights, what took me 5 minutes to get through my first, in the privacy of my own home was 2.5, 3 minutes.
Absolutely.
So
this is it, and you can say to yourself before you actually do that set, you're going to try and trim the fat down as much as you can. You're going to try not to I've even noticed it here in doing the radio show where I pre-record myself. Do you guys record your sets ever?
Yes.
Yeah. So I always listen back, and I've noticed through doing the show there's certain things that I do a lot of. So my first few shows I did a lot of between where I had no idea, and I didn't realize how often I was doing it until it was painful.
Dude.
So it was the worst.
You just dropped an F-bomb.
That's all right. Well, we'll clip one off there.
All right.
That's I got at least one. But honestly, it was the worst, and that's like the absolute worst thing for me, where I was just like, how do I make myself stop doing this? I actually got to a point where my couple of shows I came in, and I had a little sticky note up in the corner of the screen in front of me where it acknowledged everything that I was doing that was just horrendous. So like I said, was one of them. I would say actually a lot. I would say like that was of course, like when I was coming back from a sign, that was of course, like of course you would know this obscure Canadian. Yeah, this is it. But it's little things like that they say you're supposed to do these things like, and they call it trimming the fat. You have to go in and actually look at, is every word that you're saying on stage purposeful? Does it have a point? Because if not, maybe you're killing your joke. Maybe your joke's not getting a laugh because it's not coming across the right way to the audience. Yeah. You know? That's a thing, too, to consider. And I never tried it before. Like, I've never done a night where I've done all new material, which I've seen some comedians. I've seen Matt do it before, too, actually. And he's done, like, I've seen him do it where he's killed.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
He
it's
almost always killed.
All new. And it's like, man, this is insane. It's all new, like, right off the cuff. But one of the biggest things I've noticed right away is that, I mean, it's important apparently for a lot of these comedians that do it at like clubs in the States when they're touring and trying to write a new hour, that if something really bombs, they actually stop and they ask the audience what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the big ones I heard somebody say was what they realized was it's how they're saying it. So they started asking the audience when a bomb comes, they just get a big joke where it's a flat nothing.
Yeah.
They'll ask the audience, what did you just think that I said?
Yeah.
And get someone to say it back to them. Like, what did you get from that?
Yeah.
And they realized over time, they said, this is their biggest flaw in comedy was most of the time, what I actually am trying to convey to you isn't the message that's getting across to you at all. You're like, I said this entirely wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be horrifying the opposite way if they actually 100% understood it and didn't laugh at all. That would be a nightmare.
That's the word. Yeah, you're like, oh, no, I got it. No, I heard what you said.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, okay. And moving along, at that point, that is the unsalvageable set.
Yeah, that's
what about you?
Fun.
What's your biggest bomb?
Oh, man, it's all so much fun for me. But that I really don't know. I can't think of a great story. You told a story with somebody else, but I've seen you bomb so many times.
Oh, I've bombed a lot of times.
But they're never very interesting bombs. It's just like,
it's
whatever.
Most of the times I've bombed were like my first couple of shows, or when it's a room full of comics who have heard every joke I'm about to do.
And sometimes those are the nights. If you have like sometimes a quiet night where you are just, if you're sort of doing what you said you've done in the past, where there is a 10-minute bit that you've got, and you're like, all right, I've got my 10 minutes. I'm going to run this until it feels like perfectly smooth. Sometimes if you happen to hit the exact same audience, if it's a couple of weeks apart, and like you said, if it happens to be a night where there's a couple of the same comedians, that's going to happen.
Yep.
I mean, I've been there. I've seen some people's best bits, and I've seen them a few times, but I know like that's part of it. That's part of it is they got to get in there. You got to run that 10 minutes.
You've got to be willing to get up in front of an audience of, maybe just the comics and the bar staff or maybe 30, 40 people.
Absolutely.
And be willing to know that, like, I might fail terribly right now.
For sure. I mean, and that's why I'd even say my most memorable bomb isn't the worst bomb that I've ever seen. So I've seen people do really bad and just there's nothing. Like, I've seen dead silence. And that's more painful to watch than anything.
Yes.
The best one that I ever saw was when it was still the Levy. They had a guy, and I think he might have been a first or a second timer, but he got up and he did straight 5 minutes all the way through. It was pretty bad, admittedly, and like, but he knew, like, I think he told his first joke and it got nothing, and I think for him, you could almost see like that might have been his strongest bit right off the hop, and it went nowhere. So he just kept running, he kept doing his jokes. When his punchlines fell flat, he didn't pause, he just kept going and kept going, and he got about 3 minutes in before finally he started one of his jokes by just kind of real casual, just kind of saying, it's funny, guys, like, it's really fun. Well, obviously not to you guys, but it's funny when and just went on, and that got a laugh. And from there, the audience caught on. So even though his jokes from there were no better, and probably maybe even worse, people started laughing. And then when he was done his set, the whole audience clapped. Everybody was super into it. That's the one I remember the most, because I went, all you did was, it was just, you didn't let it hiccup you for a second. You didn't let it phase you. You didn't ask how much time you had left. You weren't like aching to get off the stage. You were like, I got my 5 minutes. I'm going to do my 5 minutes. It is what it is. And that moment of him actually just taking that second to own it and be like, well, it's funny. Well, not to you guys, obviously, but it's funny that, when that was it. That was the owning moment. I love that. I hope that happens to me. Like, I hope I'm bombing so bad that I could completely redeem myself with that one quick.
You're really not. Well,
that's hard.
this is Paul Wolford guy who's doing the show at Geary, right? He's been doing it a long time, and his belief is that you cannot bomb an open mic. No one paid to see this. You're just one of a bunch that night.
That's fair.
He said, unless you're getting paid, then you can bomb. I kind of believe that.
That's fair. Yeah.
So basically, do you mean in the sense that he's saying that it's not really a bomb if you're just showing up to do it?
If you're some local comedian nobody's ever heard of, and you're next up and it doesn't go well, nobody's going to be like, wow, I wasted my money to see that Kyle King guy tonight.
That's a really good point. I like that.
Low stakes. It's supposed to be learned, right? That's why we do open mics.
Well, exactly. And I mean, for some of the events, especially I know in St. John's, you guys do a lot of the first-timer events. I do see a lot. I mean, Chris Dunn has obviously been someone who's organized quite a few of that. And I mean, obviously, I've been in a lot of rooms where I've seen, especially for, how many, what do you guys do? 50 comedians have been through Bittersweet now?
Yeah, since June.
That's great. But that's what it should be all about. You should be having that many people coming through and trying it. You're getting a lot of first timers, Now, did you get a lot of second timers? People get the guts.
Yeah. I don't. I've only had maybe four first timers on my show.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
There's a big breadth of comedians here in the city, man.
There is, and if you're like, I try to get good comedians and new comedians and mix it up every time.
It's good to try. Yeah.
Because you don't want one of the same thing too much.
I've noticed that too, yeah. You don't usually have very much of a similar lineup. But again, I mean, I've seen that in a lot of the 4 events that I've seen going on in the city consistently. Your Tuesday night at Bitters, of course. That's Bittersweet Comedy at Bitters. And then Wednesday night, of course, is now we've got Low Key Comedy at Valhalla Tavern.
Sure.
And then, of course, Thursday nights as well, there's also Jokes at John's. That's going to be at Trapper John's. So of course anyone who hasn't have anything to do after the show there at 10 p.m. of course, or if you want to duck out early before our local flavor segment, make sure you jump down to check out some Jokes at John's. That's going to be coming up there at 9 o'clock. But what I definitely say is I don't see a lot of the same lineups of comedians. It seems like people do tend to take a week in between their sets too. I don't know if that's intentional by the comedians themselves, but it definitely seems to work well because if it's not the same lineups, it's not the same headliners. I like it, man.
I do it every week.
Hey, listen,
I do 3 shows every week.
I try
to do more than that if I can.
But you're busting your chops.
I'm just addicted to it. That's what it is.
It's fine. I mean, that's how I feel about coming in here.
Yeah?
Yeah, I thought I would feel that way about comedy, and it is fun. I like it. It's fun, but
how many times have you done it?
I did it 4 or 5 times, but I didn't get the bug to jump at it as much as I've seen other people do. I've even seen you jump at it more than I did.
I go through spurts where there have been weeks where I've done 3. I think one week I actually did 4 shows.
Yeah.
And I've been back in town now a week. I've done 2 shows.
Fair.
And I've just completely ignored the request for names for this week. I just
not
happens. Feeling it this week.
No, that's fair, and it happens. Whereas I know I've seen you're someone I've seen you do 3 nights in a week. I've seen you then be like, all right, I'm ready to go for another week. Let's go. Maybe there's a benefit this Friday I'm going to do or something Saturday.
Yeah, man. If you know anybody who wants a comedian, I'll do it. I'm always down. Man.
Lindsey Barron for hire, I guess.
Yes,
this is your man.
Yeah.
We got to take another break here, of course, as well. Again, you are listening to Unit Radio here. We're going to be here till 10 p.m. again this evening, and so stick around. Make sure you tell a friend. We do have Kyle King, comedian extraordinaire, and Lindsey Barron, comedian extraordinaire. Make sure you got to check out Lindsey's shows that he organizes. Of course, Tuesday nights again there at Bittersweet Comedy. Wednesdays at Valhalla Tavern, Low Key Comedy. And we'll be right back here. Stick around for more Unit Radio. Whoop! Did I know that Rush song?
You should. But
I should. I feel like I should know most Rush songs. A Rush fan would say I should know it, though.
Yes, for sure.
You're a Rush fan, right?
I am a Rush fan.
Yeah, that's fair. I gotta say, I'm a Rush. I like Rush, but I couldn't call myself a full-on Rush fan. I'm a Rush singles.
You know how I got into Rush?
How?
My first work term, the only radio station worth listening to up in Ladsville.
Why do your lips deserve new ears?
K-Rock.
Yeah.
And K-Rock just plays a lot of Rush, Canadian content, and it's good classic rock.
It's not. No, it's great. It's Canadian. It's what? It's a 3-man group too. That's impressive.
That boggled my mind. I was like, there's got to be 5-6 dudes in this band. Especially
with the amount of guitar work. I used to think the same thing. And is Geddy Lee's a bassist too, right?
He plays bass, sings, foot pedals, and keyboards. Sometimes all at the same time.
Sure.
Okay, maybe not all, because playing bass and keyboard would be difficult. Yeah, but
that's doable.
There are many songs where he's playing foot pedals, keys, and singing.
That's kind of what I imagine most of Lindsay's musical sets were like, actually.
Yeah.
I kind of thought you were like the guy with the cymbals on your knees with the guitar. I just always assumed you would be a one-man band.
Blow into.
Definitely, yeah. Varying harps. Sort of on different keys at different levels.
Yeah. That's real nice stuff there.
That's awesome. No. And of course, I mean, to that point, though, I mean, you are, of course, not only a comedian, but musician, of course, extraordinary as well. So, of course, Mr. Lindsay Barron here joining us in studio, and Mr. Kyle King, who's a comedian and musician in his own right, extraordinary.
In fact.
And again, I'm Brad Stevens here for Unit Radio, of course, for anybody sticking around. That was a Rush tune there. That was Rush Losing It.
Yes.
That's an early 80s one. I hadn't heard that one, but thank you for that, Kyle.
Anytime.
We did want to come back before we head into our local flavor segment. I wanted to ask the boys, we were talking about some of our worst bombs. I know you gave us one there earlier, the worst bomb you ever saw, Kyle, but do you want to spare your shame a little? Like, what's your personal worst?
My personal worst is kind of like a two-way tie. My second set ever.
Yeah.
It was at Trapper John's. Like, it wasn't a first-timer show, so it wasn't like friends of people expecting everybody to bomb, you know? They were sort of expecting a little bit of a, like, certain caliber.
Okay, fair enough.
And, I just really... I was trying a joke that is, like, intentionally offensive, and then I tried to recover from it.
Sure.
And I had yet to figure out how to recover from it.
Yeah,
and
that's tough and at best, like,
Yeah.
even when you're a little experienced.
Yeah, so I've learned basically the way to do it is to sort of, like, throw yourself under the bus a little bit. What I tried to do that night was go aggressive and be like, you guys are, you know, and...
So you went at him.
Not so much went at him, just like, you guys are too sensitive, you know, like, just sort of...
Come on.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
So, there was this girl, like, in the front row, center stage, pretty much.
Okay.
And she looks up at me and said something, like, basically the reason why that joke wasn't funny. And I just went full on deer in the headlights and went, yeah, and just, like, kept moving with my set, because I didn't know how to deal with it. It was only a 3-minute set, so it wasn't too bad.
No, that's okay. How far into the set were you?
That was like a minute and a half.
That's okay. I mean, that's not so bad. I've seen people like struggle through, and I've seen sets where people have I've seen people ask within the first 45 seconds, how much time do I have left on a 3-minute set?
Oh, it doesn't feel good.
Sometimes that's bad. I know that was one I remember seeing. That was like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was long before even I did comedy. Yep. And I remember seeing someone do a set, and I remember they said it was this person's first time. They wanted to give it a shot. Let's everybody give it up, because I mean, to be honest, it's a really supportive comedy scene. As someone who has done brutally terrible sets, I've had a lot of laughs. I've had a lot of really polite laughter. It's been really nice. So it's like, thank you guys. I know that wasn't good, but thank you. It means a lot. But I remember seeing that guy do it, and admittedly, like, it's not that the jokes weren't funny. He was really nervous, and he just wasn't ready to do it. You could tell he was so uncomfortable. But yeah, that was the one thing. He was 3 minutes. He asked how much time he had left 5 times, and the first time he asked, he said, "How much time do you have left?" And they said 2 minutes and 15 seconds, and he went, "Oh, okay. Wow. Boy, how's everybody doing?" And I was like, oh no. Yeah, I know. And it was like, oh God. Okay, wow. Like, at that point, it was like he hadn't even really started. He hadn't even really gotten off the ground. He was really just getting comfortable, getting the mic out of the stand.
Man.
But it happens, it's really bad. What about you? I'm sure you've had it.
Oh, I've had so many terrible bombs.
Because he gave it top 2, like, I mean.
Yeah.
I can talk about this for hours, but this isn't really a bomb. This is because probably the worst bomb was like a show you put off.
Sure.
If you organize a show, host it, and it bombs, that is a sweet
painful bomb.
Real good death.
That's like every show at the local for Gary.
Yeah, man.
Because there was never an
audience. And that's what I heard. I heard that for some reason was it a Tuesday or early week or something?
Tuesday, yeah. Before Bitter started up.
Yeah. I found every time I've gone, of course, to your show, there seems to be a lot of comedian support, which is nice.
Oh yeah. We usually get some people out too. So that's
even when I did a night there, actually, was pretty good. It was over the summer too, which I really enjoyed. Yeah.
So I do want to tell you about my actual one time that it went very bad. So because
You're already
when
grinning.
I first started, right, and I was I did Trapper John's, and,
sure.
And you don't know anything, right?
No,
that seems like an intimidating room too.
No, Trapper's is wonderful. I've always done really well there. The only couple times I kind of missed up, but I remember when I first started, I was like having a lot of fun with the audience.
Yeah.
And it was just like because Michael Lynch is an amazing comedian, and he would host it, so the crowd was always like super hyped.
Absolutely.
And like, so you can just have fun, tell a couple jokes. Who cares? This is awesome. That's like what it was like. Right?
Exactly.
And then I went to this open mic at the LSPO Hall. It was the first year of the
Impossible Challenge, I think.
Thing,
right. Okay.
And I think I was like second last maybe on it, and there was 14 comics.
That's the one where they do the gala at the end, so everybody.
Yeah. So this was the first one ever.
Okay.
For the first year he ever did it.
Okay.
Whatever his name is.
Elling.
But he hosts.
Elling Liam, right.
He like had no experience with comedy, and didn't realize that 14 is way too many.
Yeah. Tiny bit.
Way too many new material. Like only new material.
Ugh.
Right. That's the whole idea of the room. Room's full of people, right?
3 to 5 minutes, or
5 minutes.
Okay,
firm.
Wow,
Pretty much.
Wow, okay.
And I think Andy was hosting it, Andy Bowman, and she said, I think maybe I'm getting this all wrong, but she said you can stomp loudly and we'll come up and you can get off the stage. Like who's
that was
gonna do that?
That was their out, so she was giving you like
out. If you can just stomp, it's like just get off the stage. You don't need to stomp
loudly.
loudly.
It's way more awkward. Like you could just say thank you, good night. Like
stomp with your right foot, and I'll come up.
This is like the signal of it's going badly.
Stomp one time.
This is the kind of show. This is nuts. It's just crazy off the
But I get it. I know. Her heart's in the right place, too, because she's trying to just be like, look, if you need to signal me. But to be honest with you, if your set's going bad, no signal necessary. Like, someone's going to know that things are gone very awry.
But there's lots of really, new people who wouldn't even know anything to do, right?
Exactly. You don't even know it's not going well.
Yeah. Well, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Let's try.
I've seen some counter arguments there.
No, you don't always, but this night you knew. And
fair enough.
And because people did not have the stamina, because this was the first one, so a lot of like older people came out, and people who don't normally see comedy, like, oh well, I'll do this thing because whatever, right? Or
and come support me.
I'll come support my friend or whatever.
Gotcha.
And it was really horrible. It was everyone sucked.
Of course,
because it would happen on like the 5th or something of the month, and you just start writing in that month, so no one had anything.
Exactly, it's brand new. It's
and that's like, and there were still some laughs. It was like it wasn't a good show at all. But it was like some people were doing serviceable jobs. But it was funny looking around and seeing everyone like pale and sweating. Like I don't want to go up there. Kind of thing. I go up there, and
it's probably
awful.
getting progressively worse too.
Yeah, because people have less and less patience as the night goes on. And then Veronica Diamond, you guys know Veronica Diamond.
I do, yeah, absolutely.
She's doing a show this month. She's one of the funniest people ever. She's hilarious.
Absolutely.
She's headlining my room on Tuesday.
She used to host. I know you used to host the rooms on Wednesdays.
Yeah,
fantastic.
She did an awesome job.
Did a great
she's
job.
So funny. And she went up there, and she's so weird, right? Too, she's so weird.
Yeah,
she goes up there, and I can't remember what the premise of the joke was, so I'm gonna ruin her joke. But she's only done this the one time at this one show, and I think it was like the impersonation of a car alarm, and she just goes like blam 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 blam, and she keeps doing that for like 2 minutes. Like this is like her joke. This is her set. Settle in more. This is just gonna be more blam. And then she takes out her phone with said more pre-recorded blam, and then puts that on, and then she leaves the stage. People were dying. People thought it was hilarious.
That's legendary.
That's almost a really decent prop comic. That's amazing.
And it sucked every bit of energy out of the room. That was like the death stroke. That was like the no more, stay down.
And at what point did you have to come in there? And
3 comics after that.
Oh, great! Absolutely. This thing's been flatlined for another 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, and then I go up there,
heat it up for you,
and I still don't. I don't understand.
No. You don't know that.
I did like comedy a couple times, Trapper John's. Like,
now you know.
Do yeah, but now at the time. So I had a couple loose whatevers in my head, and I'm just like, these guys, why are they not doing good tonight? I'll do fine. I go up there. And man, I tell this story. I didn't get a single audible reaction the whole time.
Yeah, I believe that.
I remember at one point there was actually a full minute where I said, "Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it," for a minute, and then it was like, "Ah!"
It's just like some Andy Kaufman anti-comedy.
Oh, it was crazy. But I told this story, and I think the story might be funny, so I'm going to tell it right now.
All right, go for it. Yeah, as long as you don't mind burning it, that's fine.
I was there at I was living at Weymouth Street at the time. And I was outside.
It's a good area of town.
Yeah. And I was like outside on my front area there, and I saw a little dog just walking down the street, like just a little doggy. Like little doggies don't be out on their own, right?
Sure, yeah. Not
Little doggies don't be out on their
This
own.
dude's
Late at
he's a little
night.
big, a little bigger than a cat, like a little chihuahua looking dude. Right?
Oh, he's got it. Yeah, he
It's
needs,
like,
he needs people.
You should be in a person all the time.
Yeah, people
right?
think, yeah.
Nobody around. He's just running around. And
Where's
then,
your person, sir?
Yeah, and he starts running over to me, and I'm like looking. Oh, does this dog have a collar? What's on the go? Should I should take him and carry him and try to find the person or take a picture and put it on the Facebook? Or what should I do? What should I do with this dog? And as the dog got closer, it turned, and I saw that half of its face was just a huge tumor.
Oh.
It was like a huge, like the tumor was so big that it was weighing. The dog couldn't hold it up on its head because it was a little tiny dog. And I was like, ugh, I didn't want to get close enough to look to see if it had a collar. At this point.
Starts talking to you, Schwarzenegger voice, like, it's not a tumor.
And this guy just silence.
Because people are waiting and they're like, so what did you do with the dog?
Who put down the dog? What happened?
What did you do with the dog? Did somebody...
Oh my god.
Yeah. So basically, what you're telling me is it was a night of anti-comedy followed by your wait for it, wait for it. But wait, I've got a story about this terribly, this like terminal animal that I discovered on the side of the road.
Someone just gave up on it. Just you go.
And then and when he turned around, I went, ugh. And that's it.
That was the whole story.
What's everybody doing tonight?
Yeah.
You guys having fun?
Give it up for your host. Big stomp my right foot.
Folks, before I get lost again, I do have another PSA to do. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here. I'm going to jump into local flavor shortly. I don't know if you'll still be here, but thank you for being here now. We got Lindsay Barrett, of course. Make sure, again, earlier in the weeks there, on Tuesday nights, we've got Bitters with Bittersweet Comedy.
8:30.
Wednesday nights, it's 8:30 it starts?
Yes.
There we go. And then for Wednesday nights, that starts at?
8.
8 as well there. That's going to be at
8,
Valhalla Tavern.
We're making it earlier.
Oh.
There we go, earlier night.
And we're going to have trivia beforehand, too.
So I hear Evan Mercer,
Hopefully with Evan Mercer.
Possibly,
Yeah. That'd be sweet.
Stay tuned for
super
that.
Cool.
He's a great trivia host as well. I know
really
he's
good trivia host.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
So
yeah.
get down early. You want to use your brain, and then you want to laugh and have a great time. So that's Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Wednesdays again is going to be called Low Key Comedy.
Yes, Loki.
Loki, I like that.
I get it.
And while we're advertising as well, we'll jump into there for Thursdays as well for Jokes at John's there at Trapper John. So thank you, Lindsay, for joining us. And again, Kyle, thank you again for joining me. It's your second week in a row here.
Yeah.
You're like a new regular, sir. I love it. I'm glad you're able to make it in while you're here in town. Both of you guys feel free to come back anytime.
Yes.
And again, my name is Brad Stevens. This is Unit Radio. For now, stick around. We've got local flavor coming right up. Whoop.